I just don't know what he does. I don't think he fights KO. I just don't know what else he does.
I agree. I agree. If it's not KO, I don't know what it is. So I'm
Okay.
100% with
All right.
you.
And hey, anybody watching or
But
listening
he
at
will-
home who's giving me shit, if it's not KO, who's Sammy fighting at WrestleMania? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Burning Hammer podcast. I am your host, Mark Izzo, and joining me, as always, is your other host, and that's Dylan O'Brien. And on this episode, we are giving you our WrestleMania 41 slightly early match card predictions. We have 2 matches confirmed at time of recording this, and I don't think any are going to get added, I guess, depending on whenever you're watching or listening to this. But right now, we are maybe about 2 months or so away from the biggest shows of the year, WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. So me and Dylan, I believe we each have 14 matches that we have written down. And we did this a couple of months ago, I think. We actually did this. And then, so it's good to kind of go back to it now, get it in, because now we have a bit more of a clearer view about certain things. But there's a lot of question marks, Dylan, for these matches. It's not quite as easy to predict who's going to face who for a bunch of these different matches as I thought that it should be, probably, at this point.
100%, Mark. This has been one of the, I'd say, most unpredictable. You could say that this is one of the most unpredictable roads to WrestleMania that we've had in quite some time. Just being that the WrestleMania picture has gotten into. This is the one thing I noticed. The last few years, stuff became so much clearer at the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't necessarily do that this year. I think they did. I think they planted seeds to a lot of certain stuff, obviously. But it felt like after the Rumble last year, we were like, okay, we know like all the matches that are happening for Mania, like based on that Rumble.
Yeah.
And this kind of gave us an idea, but it also, like, I feel like the Rumble even just gave us more possibilities between different matchups because, you know, a lot of these, like, potential feuds they set up, it wasn't just like, oh, this person had this one moment with this guy. That was it. It felt like everybody had multiple things with other people. It was so a lot of different directions they could potentially go on this road to WrestleMania. I'm very excited to go through our match card together today, Mark. The one thing I noticed for sure is WWE has been doing an amazing job at just the depth of their roster.
Oh, yeah.
There is so many guys and women. There's so many guys, so many women on this roster that are unbelievable. And there's going to be several of them that are going to be left off of this WrestleMania card. And it's a shame. And it really is. So I think we can easily say, and I think our viewers would know this, but this is kind of, so I try to attack this card I try to do a nice 50-50 mix between what I want to happen and realistically what can happen.
Yeah.
So like nothing on I'm not going I'm not just gonna like put a match that I absolutely hate because I think there's a good chance it's gonna happen. I might, but that doesn't mean I'm going. You know what I mean? It just depends how likely I think that match is to happen, and but of course we want to have some fun with it, so we're gonna choose the matches that we would really, really like to see. And I'll tell you, Mark, off jump.
Tell me.
I did take a couple cop outs to get some people onto my card.
Okay.
And
That's fine.
but
Ain't nothing wrong with a little cop out.
I think, yeah. I mean, WrestleMania is known for cop out matches to just get people on the card, which is we're fine with it. I mean, let's just say, off rip. Remember a few years ago when we had that WrestleMania showcase match that was just like the fatal 4-way tag team match for nothing really except bragging rights, and that match stole the show. So
Yeah, that was awesome.
That match was incredible. So, with that being said, I guess it's time to just jump right into this card, Mark.
Yeah,
there's people
for sure.
that are gonna be left off of this card, and it's upsetting. I don't know.
It was upsetting me. It was upsetting me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do you just want to start with like, what are the notable names that are left off of your WrestleMania match card, if everything was to come true on your predictions?
So, I would say right now, and I had it like literally 10 minutes before we started recording, I had a few different matches, but I had to switch them. So I would say LA Knight's not on my card. Dirty Dom's not on my card. Let me see. Like you said, Finn Balor's not on my card. No Wyatt Six. I'm trying to think of. I think those are kind of like the biggest. Oh, the War Raiders aren't on my card.
Interesting.
Which could be crazy, but there's just like trust me. I tried to get the War Raiders on this card. I could not do it. There's just like I'm at the point now where like I tweaked some things, but like I didn't get rid of any matches. So like when I was like shuffling things around, it was just like adding in one wrestler. Like I had LA Knight on my original card, and then I had to drop him out for something else. But it's just like I'm looking at the card, and there's just like there's nobody I could cut from this currently. Like I could throw people in for like multi-person matches, but I already feel like I have two. I have two of those. I don't know how many more they're going to do. But what are some big names that you are leaving off of your WrestleMania 41 card?
Yeah, I would say no one as big as LA Knight.
That just feels like Friday Night SmackDown before WrestleMania, him versus Shinsuke again. Like as much as I think LA Knight should be on the card, I don't think they're gonna run him and Shinsuke back at WrestleMania.
For the record, I have LA Knight on the card. I don't have Shinsuke Nakamura on the card.
Okay.
So let that be known.
You got The Miz on your card?
I don't have The Miz on my card.
Okay, never mind. Miz just Miz was just on SmackDown, so I was wondering if get a little bit of a preview.
I got no Miz, no Karrion Kross, no Jimmy Uso, no Finn, no Wyatt Six. So there's some notable names, and I mean, like we said, it's nothing that we're happy about. It's more names we get left off. It's like for a name like specifically Finn. Like I love Finn, think he's one of the best in the world. The idea of him being left off of WrestleMania is insane to me.
Like I could book it so he's on it if I was given the time.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like
but
we could easily book him on the WrestleMania card. It's just the fact that right now, like he's just probably not going to be on the card, and it's nothing. Like they're just not really doing much with him creatively, like right now. Like they kind of have like a riff in the Judgment Day, maybe him versus Dom, but it's like again, like that's not really a WrestleMania match. So Yeah, I mean, dude, this was tough. And I think a lot of things will get cleared up at the Elimination Chamber also.
For sure. For sure.
Especially with that. I think it's a shame that Jacob Fatu is not in the Elimination Chamber, but I get that they probably didn't want to have him eat a pin in that match. And real quick, at time of recording, for just the Elimination Chamber matches, there's 5 for both. We have one more person who's going to qualify for both of those matches. So right now, for the women, you have Naomi versus Bayley versus Alexa Bliss versus Liv Morgan versus Bianca Belair versus one more person. And then for the men, you have CM Punk versus John Cena versus Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest versus Logan Paul versus somebody. Probably going to be Seth Rollins. I don't remember who the final match is for the women.
Seth and Finn. Oh, Seth and Finn is the final match for the men.
Yeah, Seth's winning that.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they announced the 5th one for the women's. Did they?
I feel like Rox is in it.
Roxanne Perez?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think she's in the match. I'm not 100% sure. Don't take my word for it.
All right. Well, I mean, that's so there's a lot of things. And I was thinking back to the Elimination Chamber and how that's going to affect some of these matches first. So let's dive into these, Dylan, because you got 14, right?
I do.
Yeah, so we both have 14. Honestly, WrestleMania, they could make it a 3-night event with the amount of talent they have.
Seriously,
they could easily.
They could
Not that
go
they
Friday,
should,
Saturday, Sunday,
but they could.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think they should. I think 2 days is. Yeah.
But
2 days is fine.
Why don't you pick a match here, Dylan? Talk us through, and then if we have wrestlers on the card, which we will have similar we'll kind of we'll discuss them as we go.
All right, yeah. Let's start it off with the matches that we know for sure are going to be on this card, right?
Yes.
So let's do Jey Uso versus Gunther, and Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. Our 2 Royal Rumble winners, Charlotte and Jey Uso, have picked the champions that they are going to face at WrestleMania. These are the matchups that we expected, and what are your thoughts on them, Mark?
Yeah, I'm super pumped. I will say, as crazy as this sounds, I feel pretty confident about the outcome for both of these matches. I think Jey versus Gunther will probably be the match that I feel the most confident about the outcome, which is Jay's going to win. I think there's no shot he's losing. And obviously it's going to be a ton of fun. They have a still good enough time to build this even further. The story that's been going on for probably the past couple of months. I think Gunther's 3-0 against him on televised shows. And so yeah, that match is going to be a lot of fun. Ultimate underdog story, classic. And then Charlotte versus Tiff. Again, one we saw coming. I'll give you an early prediction. I think Charlotte's going to win at WrestleMania. But we'll dive into that a little more in the coming weeks. But I think it's the match.
Tiff over.
Hey, listen. I'm with you.
Why do you think Charlotte wins?
I think that she is. I just think when Charlotte wins, Charlotte wins. She just wins. That's what she does. And
I hope not.
Until I'm proven wrong, then I'm going to assume she's going to win. And I think that she is probably she's gonna hit what's she at 14 now, so she's gonna hit 16, and she's not getting any younger. Not that she's gonna retire anytime soon, but you have a few years left, so it's she could get 17. She could hit 18. There's truly no number that she can't hit at this point. With just the amount of times. That's a conversation for another day. But yeah, I'm super pumped for both these matches. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Jey and Gunther is going to be the main event, not just because he won the Royal Rumble, but because it's main event Jey Uso and he's going to main event. So I'm going to assume the other match that we talked about before on the podcast will be the other main event. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to main event. And I'm pretty pumped for both of these matches. I think both of these matches, even though we have gotten Gunther versus Jay before, it's going to be a little different. So both of these matches feel like WrestleMania worthy matches.
Yeah, I 100% agree, Mark. Anybody who's against the Jey Uso Royal Rumble victory and not a big Jey Uso fan is just they're just against Jey Uso at this point. It doesn't have to do with the
You
booking.
guys
It has to do with you guys
suck.
not liking Jey Uso.
You guys are
and
miserable
that's
people if you don't
fine,
like Jey
But
Uso.
don't blame things on booking that are just your dislike for a certain person. That's all it is. Like, but anyway, so I'll jump into this next one. This one was really kind of this was a match that was I'm not super confident about it all. But
Okay.
I think they're gonna have the tag team titles, the women's tag team championships on WrestleMania, and I
Wow.
think they're gonna be on WrestleMania in some iteration of at least one or two of these teams will be in the match. So I've got a fatal 4-way for the women's tag team championships. I think after SmackDown, especially with we kind of saw what happened, what's going on with Jade, and because they had
buy
showed the
that
clip to
nonsense?
Bianca. No, not really. I really think it's Naomi. So that's what
I
makes,
agree.
That's what makes this match even weirder for me, because I've got a 4-way match of Damage Control, which is going to be Io and Dakota,
Okay.
versus Liv and Raquel, versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross,
Okay.
versus Naomi and Jade.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I understand how it sounds. I'm just like, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, because they showed that it was supposedly like Liv and Raquel. I don't
Well, they
necessarily.
didn't show much in that.
Yeah, obviously. I don't, and I'm not saying I buy that, but I'm saying, would I be completely shocked if that's just what they went with at this point, and this was all just to get Jade off of TV, just to get her a little less green? I kind of buy it. Like, does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I 100%, but I'm saying if that is what is happening, I'm not super shocked by it. So that's
Yeah.
why.
I agree. I think they could, if that is what it is, and it was just Liv and Raquel. That is probably the most likely thing to happen.
Honestly.
but you're kind of just like, oh, well, that fucking sucks. Like,
No, agreed.
that's literally
100% agreed.
that's exactly
Very
what I said. Like,
anticlimactic.
I
I'm not
watched
saying
the clip, and it was just like, that fucking sucks. It's not, but it's not them. It's not them. I'm
Yeah,
fairly
I'm pretty-
confident it's not them.
I'm fairly confident it's not them either. But like I said, would I be shocked at all if it is them and this was all just to get Jade off of TV, just to get her less green?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
So, how does Jade defend the tag titles and Bianca doesn't?
Because I think Bianca, and in this situation, I think Liv and Raquel are going in as champions.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure exactly how we get there, but I think
Interesting.
this would be that situation.
Interesting.
I also think there's a decent chance that we just end up Liv and Raquel somehow get the women's tag titles, and then we just have straight up Liv and Raquel versus Alexa and Nikki Cross. But I also think Damage Control. I'm part of me is convinced that Damage Control, Dakota and Io are also going to be on Mania as a tag team.
Okay.
So
I could see that for sure.
that's where it led me to everything I did, and you'll see where what's part of the reason Bianca isn't a part of that match.
Okay.
Or I also think, like, not to be. I think they could just, like, if they just came back and decided to Freebird rule it and say that Jade is a tag team champion with them three, wouldn't be surprised. Because she didn't lose, like.
It's true.
Like,
She is.
Yeah, like she is.
She is.
Yeah,
She
so
is the
it's
tag
like-
team champion.
So if they just Freebird rule it, I also, like, that's the other thing. I wouldn't be surprised if this was all just to like get Jade more work because she was still kind of green, and get Naomi a part of the trio and make it so they can like freebird rule these titles. I'm not saying that it's super likely or that's necessarily what I think, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, and man, I don't know what they've been doing with this story or like why they kind of just like we're gonna investigate and we're gonna figure out who did it and then kind of just forget about it for like what feels like an eternity. Um, I don't buy that there was Liv and Raquel. I could be wrong, like you said, easily could be them, but I think I'm just choosing to have a little more faith in Triple H to just like not have that nonsense or some stupid like that. So so yeah, Dylan, I have 15 matches. I forgot to put Jay versus Gunther on this, so I'll have an extra match for the people. But um, I'll get into my first match, and that's going to be. I still have faith we're getting Jade versus Bianca.
Very cool. Okay.
Call me crazy.
I'm all for it.
Call it wishful thinking. Call me naive. I don't care. I don't buy that nonsense that it was Liv and Raquel. I don't know. I don't think the women's tag titles are going to be on the card. And I think that Bianca's going to be on the card. I don't think she's going up against Rhea or anybody else, really. So it just makes the most sense for her to go against Jade. I think there's still time to do it. They just have to kind of start it soon. Maybe after the Chamber, which realistically this should have been a story that they build for a few months, but maybe they build it for a few months after WrestleMania. Because I'm ready for Jade Cargill to be back on my TV screen,
yeah.
Dylan.
They still have 2 months though, like pretty much.
Yeah, 2 months from now. I mean, if they do it before Chamber, that would be sick. Because Chamber's in.
I mean,
like
but it's like
2 weeks.
Mania's April 19th and 20th this year, so they've got time.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I guess I don't know. I'm just trying to be a bit more faithful that they're going to have Jade versus Bianca.
No, I'm with you. I mean,
on the card, because I'm not like I don't hate the idea of, I guess whatever your match is going to be, but I mean, I couldn't think of anything else for Bianca, and that was just the first one that.
I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, I'll just since we're on the topic, I'll just go into it. And it's, I mean, also a big chunk of the reason that Bianca isn't in that match with the tag matches, and that's because I got Bianca winning the Chamber, and I got Bianca taking on Rhea at WrestleMania. I know that it's not necessarily where all like the arrows have been pointed over the last few months, and I'm not sure it's the best story there, but if you're talking about putting on a banger at WrestleMania, you throw Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair in a feud and have them go at it. That match is going to be insane if that is the match. So, do I wish, if it is the match, do I wish that they had a little bit more time and a bit more of an opportunity to really build this feud? Absolutely. But then again, if she wins Chamber, you still got 6 weeks. So they can do a lot in 6 weeks, really. So especially leading up to one match. So
oh, for sure.
I have and that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm also I think part of my reason with it is I look at the rest of the Chamber, if I'm being honest, and I don't see an opponent for Rhea.
Let me.
And a lot of people think it's going to be Becky. That Becky's going to come back and it's going to be Becky. And I think that's no shot either. I think
agreed.
Like, they're not going to. They just did that last year, and Rhea won. So it's like I think there's a lot better chance they just go Bianca and then just have Jade come back and be like, oh, Freebird rule. Jade is going to fight with the tag team titles with Naomi.
So it is Raquel versus Roxanne, and then Seth versus Finn for the qualifying.
Yeah, so I would expect Rox to make it, probably. Maybe. They're not going to
Yeah.
squash Rox like that.
No.
She'll be in it.
Yeah. Damn. All right. Well, I like that, Dylan. Because you look at this field, which I didn't really take into account. Or I thought something else was going to happen, but then I thought Io was going to get back in to this thing.
No, but then they I was with you there, and until on Raw we're getting Io and Rhea on Raw the day after the Chamber. So that just like,
yeah,
so she's
I mean,
not gonna be in
maybe,
the Chamber.
yeah, which is a shame. I don't know why she wouldn't be in the Chamber.
Maybe they work it into a triple. Maybe they work it into a triple threat. With
Maybe
that,
if
with that
someone calls Io.
match, yeah, and if that is the case, I mean, Bianca Io Rhea would be fucking insane. Give that to me, dude. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Talk about, I mean, those three women ran NXT for a while. So throw them on the stage at Mania. I think Triple H is looking real proud of that trio at the top of the women's division. But yeah, it's. I mean, I'll say this: I don't think Rox isn't a bad pick. Like, if I'm being honest, if it's not Bianca, I think Roxanne wins this match. I don't know who else wins this match. Some people are saying, "Oh, it looks like we're getting Liv versus Rhea at Mania," and I can promise you, with my whole heart, that isn't happening.
Yeah. I mean, it is tough because, like, I don't think Naomi's going to win. I don't think Bayley's going to win. Like, Alexa Bliss, maybe, but not a great shot.
I think Alexa's a solid pick, but I just don't think they want to throw her in that situation against Rhea. I don't think they want Rhea to lose.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I agree. And obviously you could have a problem where it's like Alexa Bliss is like just instantly became one of your bigger stars.
Yeah.
So it's like since she came back, so it's like you're gonna have like, and they're both kind of babyface. So
totally.
It's just like
they're probably the two hottest stars in the women's division as far as like over women's talent. Babyface women's talent, right? Them and Chelsea at this point, if they give Chelsea the proper time.
I'll say this too, because this is something else that bothered me that I don't. It's not like a big deal, but I don't think Lyra and Chelsea should have been in the qualifying matches as the mid-card champions.
Agreed.
And them getting pinned stinks, even though they got pinned, by Bayley and Naomi. I believe Naomi beat Chelsea Green.
I think they were both roll-ups too.
Yeah, and so it's just like, I don't know. You have enough women to where you don't throw your women's, as popular as they are. Like, I don't know. Just don't. You don't need to give them that loss. Doesn't matter who it's against. But
I'm 100% with you there.
All right, so I'm going to. Which match should I do? I'll do one that I'm not pumped about, Dylan. And it's one I didn't initially have. And it's one that I don't think anybody really wants. And that's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. It's one that kind of got leaked in the dirt sheets and whatnot. I thought they were going to do LA versus Drew. I thought we were going to pivot towards that, especially after this stuff came out about what happened to Drew backstage. And then they had that triple threat match, I believe, on SmackDown last week or 2 weeks ago. So I thought we were going to kind of play into the LA Knight and Drew McIntyre feud a little bit more, but it seems like we're not, especially what happened after SmackDown. And so this kind of makes the most sense stemming off of the Elimination Chamber. I don't know if Priest is going to eliminate Drew or if Drew's going to eliminate Priest, but it seems like they're kind of in there to have one of them eliminate the other, and then that will lead to their WrestleMania match, unfortunately, which is not a knock on Damian Priest. You guys know the Burning Hammer. You know we love Damian Priest, but it's like feels like Drew should be in like a hotter feud heading into WrestleMania.
Totally. I mean, the MVP of 2024. The guy deserves a bigger match. And like I said, not a knock on Damian. It's just he deserves a big-time feud with the rest of the top stars that he's constantly... If he's not losing to them, he's beating other guys. So let's have him start beating the other top guys. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like he just feels like he gets booked to lose to Punk and Seth and Roman, and when he should and is... He's on their level, so there's no reason that shouldn't be getting the wins. I mean, I've got a similar match, Mark, and maybe this is a way to make it a little bit more fun, make it something that... this was a way for me to turn lemons into lemonade a little bit.
Classic.
And with that, so this is... I do have Drew McIntyre, and I do have Damian Priest, but I've also got a third guy, and that's LA Knight. I've got a triple threat match, and for the United States Championship. I don't know how we get there. U.S. title, I would say in this instance, probably back onto LA Knight. And then he goes in as champ. And it's triple threat versus Damian and Drew. I think it puts some more respect on the U.S. title, having guys like Damian and Drew fighting for it at Mania. I think adding LA Knight to the mix makes a lot more fun, in my opinion, than just a straight up Damian versus Drew. And especially if you had the U.S. title, it feels like at least they're fighting for something rather than just a grudge match against two guys who haven't been beefing very long. So, what do you think of that?
I think it's fine. I think it's a good way to get LA Knight on the card. I could totally see it happening. I don't know if it's going to be for the U.S. title or not. I feel like there may be a better shot that it's not. With maybe some shenanigans, maybe Drew cost LA Knight his U.S. title shot, which it's not official, but he just beat Miz, which kind of felt like it made him the number one contender for the U.S. title again. So it wouldn't surprise me if LA Knight wins the U.S. title before WrestleMania, but right now it just feels like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a little too soon for him to win it back and then immediately go to something else. Like maybe Drew costs him his U.S. title match, and then Priest eliminates Drew, and then it's kind of just like everyone's kind of feuding with each other. But I mean, hey man, you're getting stars on the show. So as much as I'd rather just have Drew and LA Knight cooking a feud, Priest is going to be on the card, and he's probably going to also be feuding with Drew McIntyre. So I think it's a fine idea, Dylan. As much as I may not love it and want to see it, I think it's a fine idea.
Yeah, like I said, it was very much a turning lemons into lemonade sort of thing. It was a very much feels like we're getting some sort of Drew versus Damian. Didn't really know what LA Knight was going to do, so that felt like a way to kind of make the whole situation a little bit better.
Yeah, totally. So I'll tell you what, Dylan, I got a match here.
Let's talk about it.
That I am fairly excited about, and that is going to be, I think we're getting Chad Gable returning from his excursion to master the dark arts of Lucha Libre. I think he's going to take on Penta at WrestleMania.
Interesting. I'll tell you what.
Tell me.
Unfortunately,
yeah,
Chad Gable is not on my WrestleMania card.
Oh, jeez. Is Penta on your card?
He is.
Okay. So I was thinking about making it a fatal four-way between Pete Dunne and Ludwig and Gable and Penta, but kind of just this could just be me wanting just them, Gable and Penta, to run it back. But
Yeah.
I think that storyline feels more important than kind of what Penta's been doing since Gable left, and he's just been putting on banger after banger after banger. So yeah, I think we're getting Chad Gable versus Penta. I think Gable's gonna come back and just start wrestling like a luchador, and it's going to fucking rule. So, what do you think about that match?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm all for it, man. I think the idea of giving them a big singles match at WrestleMania is huge. Obviously, if they were fighting for a title, that's huge. But I almost think them not fighting for a title even says something a little bit more. The idea of not saying that I don't want there to be something involved if that is the direction they find, if they find a way to go in that direction. But I think, unlike the match with Damian and Drew, that feels like it needs a little something extra. Penta and Gable going one-on-one, no title involved, actually just feels like an amazing opportunity for them to show that we are big stars and we are on the level of the guys that are going to be on Mania no matter what, not in a title because of who they are. And I think they're getting an opportunity to potentially show that would be sick. So I really like that match, Mark. I really do.
Thank you.
I can tell you, if I want to get Gable on my card, I could easily throw him in this match.
Okay.
Because I've got a multi-man IC title ladder match.
Okay.
I think we are going, and there's a little hint. I think we're going to kick off the night, both nights of WrestleMania, with ladder matches. I think there's going to be a ladder match on Saturday night and Sunday night to kick off both shows. So I'll get into the other one later, but you kind of brought up some of my guys. So as of right now, I've got 6 people in this Intercontinental Championship ladder match.
Okay.
Screw it. Why don't we just make it 8? Why don't we just make it 8? So we
Sure.
can get our boys Gable on the card, and then we'll
All
throw in Ludwig Kaiser as well. He was another
Okay.
one that was like right kind of on the cusp of potentially being in this match. So we'll make it an 8-man match, and we'll throw in. So the 8 guys I have would be, of course, your Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker.
Sure.
And then we'll say Chad Gable. We'll say Ludwig Kaiser. Then we've got Penta as another one of these guys going to be in this match.
Love it.
I've got Sheamus. Sheamus
Okay.
O'Shaughnessy.
Sure.
Back in the day. Going for that Grand Slam still.
Still.
And then I've got AJ Styles. AJ Styles taking
Phenomenal
place
one.
in this match. We got a little bit of a hint, kind of a little stare down between Braun Breaker and AJ Styles on Monday Night Raw backstage. So I thought, there might even be potential for a one-on-one match there at WrestleMania, straight up for the IC title. But I think this is, like we were saying earlier, just such a stacked roster.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a cop-out. This is one of the cop-outs I took, kind of, was a multi-man ladder match, but of course so. And then the last 2 guys in this ladder match are going to be none other than Dominic Mysterio and Logan Paul. But, yeah, so I think more than likely Logan Paul is going to be in a big singles match at WrestleMania, but I don't want that.
I agree.
I think... but the idea of him not being at WrestleMania at all, it's just completely unrealistic. I'm trying so hard to get these headphones back on.
Yeah, it's tough to watch.
Anyway, so I don't think he's going to be off of the WrestleMania card. I think that's crazy to think that. Let's not.
Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah, so I think it is fair to throw him in this multi-man ladder match. And I also think, hey, listen, it's not a complete, he's still wrestling for he's wrestling for the IC title, and he'll probably have a huge spot if he is in this match. So, while I think that this is probably unlikely that Logan Paul is in this match, it's not completely unlikely. I think it's more likely that he's in a big singles match, but I don't think it's completely unlikely or crazy the idea of them putting Logan Paul in a multi-man ladder match at WrestleMania. And I think he would probably have a big spot or two, and it would be cool.
5.
So
Probably have
yeah.
5 big spots.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, hey, you don't gotta convince me to have a ladder match on the card.
So I'll just run back those 8 guys again real quick.
Do it.
But that's a multi-man ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker defending his title against Penta, AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio, Sheamus, Logan Paul, Chad Gable, and Ludwig Kaiser.
Okay. All right. Well, branching off of your IC title match, we'll go to my IC title match, and it's something that you hinted at, and that's going to be AJ Styles versus Braun Breaker, Dylan.
Okay.
I feel like
wouldn't be shocked at all.
Especially after that stare down, although I wouldn't
This would be a banger.
I think there's a great shot that your ladder match happens, by the way. Like, these are all
cool.
dudes who have been in the mix in the mid card on Raw
100%. Yeah,
for like months.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with that. And then I was also like, I don't know, I was just like, I felt like it was a great opportunity to give Dominic Mysterio a singles match, and he's going for a title. I don't know, it just felt like everybody involved felt like it made sense for them to be in this match. So
Yeah. I mean, I've got AJ versus Braun. This is a match that would be a lot of fun. You have the young up-and-comer against, like, the grizzled veteran. And so I think this is a match that would definitely be a lot of fun. Could potentially steal the show. You have AJ Styles kind of have him put over Braun Breaker. And let Braun Breaker get a massive win at WrestleMania and let him retain his IC title. And then let's get a bunch of these mid-card guys really start to challenge for this thing, Dylan. Let's get this Braun Breaker IC title reign kind of cooking.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you, man. Let's start getting some wins under his belt. Some good feuds, some good wins. I'll hop right into this next match. So we'll keep it in the Intercontinental Championship family, and we'll hop right over to the women's side of things. And I think Lyra Valkyria is going to be on this WrestleMania card. I think she's going to defend her title in a singles match against Becky Lynch.
Agreed.
Yeah,
that was one of my matches too.
I had a feeling we were going to be on the same page here. They feuded in NXT. Becky dropped the NXT title to Lyra when Becky won it a couple years back. I think this immediately puts a lot more respect into the Women's Intercontinental Championship, obviously having Becky Lynch go after it. And then I think if you want these titles to mean something, both the Women's IC and the Women's US, I think you defend them on Mania this year. I think that's the best way you build championships, is you treat them like they mean something, and you put them on the grandest stage of them all. In my humble opinion, it feels like to me, if you're a champion, that should be you earning your WrestleMania match. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, if you are the Intercontinental Champion, you shouldn't have to worry about not being on WrestleMania. I think you're on WrestleMania. The IC title is defended on WrestleMania every year. Like that, I think every title should be defended on WrestleMania every year. I think, does that make sense?
Big time.
So I think
all
that should
titles
just be like
should pretty much be defended.
Unwritten rule, kind of set in stone. Can even be written if we have to.
We could write it down. Someone could write it down.
So
it could be a rule.
I mean, we can, but yeah, I think that's a great. I mean, we don't even really need to go into the details of the story. I think the story's there itself. They know each other from back in Ireland. Becky, one of the biggest women's wrestling stars in the history of the sport. So I think it's easy to just keep this going and hop right over onto the other side of things and talk about Chelsea Green, because I have her defending the Women's United States Championship on WrestleMania.
So do I.
And it took me a little while to decide where we were going to go, right? So I think Chelsea versus Piper is an interesting idea, but I'm kind of just at the point, not everybody needs to turn on each other. Does that make sense? Not everybody needs to turn on each other. Like, just because they're teams doesn't mean just because Piper and Chelsea are together doesn't mean they have to turn on each other and lead to a big feud. It can.
Yeah, teams don't have to turn on each other.
And like with that being said, I don't like the idea of it. I like the idea of them staying together way more than them turning on each other and
100%.
having a feud. So that's why I've got Roxanne Perez taking on Chelsea Green at WrestleMania.
Okay.
I was really trying to think about it, right? And Roxanne is she'll be new to the main roster, young heel. And Chelsea Green is about as over as someone gets on the women's roster. And I think just letting her and Rox cook in a feud would be incredible. I think it would be great for Roxanne, too. I think it would do great things for her as a heel. I think it would do great things for Chelsea as a babyface. And I think they would put on a great match. So I've got Roxanne Perez versus Chelsea Green.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of that match. And I'll tell you what, I do have Roxanne Perez on my card, which I'll get into in a couple of minutes. But I'll tell you what, my women's U.S. title match, Dylan, I've got Chelsea Green. And like you said, I consider Piper, that's no fun, right?
Yeah,
like
I just love them together.
That story wouldn't really be that fun.
That's what I think. I think they're just so great together. I just leave them together.
And then I was thinking about potentially Naomi, but then I said, nah, there's someone else who should probably be on the WrestleMania card, and that's Alexa Bliss, Dylan.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would be kind of crazy if Alexa Bliss isn't on this WrestleMania card, considering she just came back at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
maybe they do something with the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, that's why I had her with Nikki in the tag.
Yeah. And which I do love.
I love your idea for that, by the way.
Thanks.
This.
Yeah, and it's just like you have your biggest baby, like one of your top women's baby faces currently, which is Alexa Bliss, and then you also have Chelsea Green, who's kind of, I think, technically supposed to be a heel, but everyone just loves her so much. So I think what better way? Chelsea Green will 100% be on this WrestleMania card. I think Alexa Bliss will 100% be on this WrestleMania card. Let them go at it for the women's U.S. title, Dylan. So I'm pretty
100%.
pumped for that.
And I mean, like we said with the other side, on the other side of things with the IC title, with having Becky go after it.
Yeah,
that's how you establish some prestige behind it. You have someone like Alexa Bliss, a legend, really at this point, going after it. So I love that match, I really do, and I think either or, I'd be definitely down for Rox versus Chelsea or Alexa versus Chelsea.
Yeah,
I'm all in
both
for
would be bangers.
So I'll hop right on to my next match, and that is going to be for the World Tag Team Championships. I've got a straight-up tag team match. The War Raiders are taking on the New Day.
Okay.
For the tag team championships.
I like it.
And this will be a big heel victory for the New Day. They're going to get their. Would that break a record or of any kind?
What number would it be?
I don't know. 12.
I'll look it up. Probably.
Probably not. I think
it depends who counts
Team 3D
what titles.
has it. Like, I still think the Dudleys still have it, but
I agree.
Regardless, the New Day it really feels like we got to get the tag team titles on the New Day.
Agreed.
Down the line, and I think
it would be
let the War
number
Raiders,
9.
Okay, let the War Raiders and let the New Day just cook. Give them a couple months. Let them cook. Give us a straight up tag team match that just burns the house down at WrestleMania, and give it to us. So yeah.
Actually, it would be their 10th.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sorry, it was just shit with teams or whatever. But yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, I mean, I kind of regret not putting the New Day on my card because they're not. But hey, it's a tough card to get in. Some names are going to be left off. I'll move on, and I do think New Day should be on the card. Again, there's just so many people that should be on the card, and that would be a fun feud. And I think New Day deserve to have some tag gold on them yet again. And so I will move on to another one of my matches, Dylan, and that's going to be Roxanne Perez versus Bayley. This is a match I feel pretty confident about. They've already been feuding in NXT. I think Roxanne Perez gets in the Elimination Chamber. I think she eliminates Bayley, thus leading to the match. So I do agree with you. Roxanne probably going to be on the main roster at or around WrestleMania. Maybe if they do the draft, she'll get drafted. But I think she has a good chance to be on this WrestleMania 41 card. And I think what better person to put her up against than the role model, Bayley?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just going to own up to some right now. I left Bayley off the card.
God damn.
Bro, there's just so many. She's
Hey,
going to be
that's
on
fine.
the card.
I can't blame you.
Yeah,
She's been in NXT for a while.
She is going to be on the card. I know that for sure. I think that
right.
she might even go after her and Chelsea. Actually, isn't even a bad idea for a potential feud. I apologize for that. That was no dig at Bayley whatsoever. I knew I was missing somebody. It's hard when you're just staring at notes and you're just writing stuff down.
I was just scrolling through the roster to make sure I didn't forget anybody huge, dude. I mean, I forgot the one match that was confirmed. That's probably worse.
All right, yeah, I'll hop right into this next one. So, this next match, I do feel pretty confident about too. I was kind of swaying, thought they might change it, but I still feel pretty good about it. And that's Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa.
Agreed.
I wouldn't
got
be
that match
surprised
as well.
If this is Tribal Combat, Mark.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't. I think that they're just might as well throw Tribal Combat on every single one of the big Bloodline matches.
Okay.
You know
I'm
what
here
I mean?
for it. Oh, I know what you mean.
So yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about this. Jacob Fatu is potentially the fastest rising star in all of wrestling at this point.
Big time.
Anytime
So
somebody
good.
is talking about him, whether
So
it
good.
be a random fan that is seeing him for the first time or a veteran like The Undertaker, they are just singing his praises, dude. Like, he is so incredibly good. It feels so awesome to just, like, say that we got to see him up. Well, I'm going to say every time, but just, like, we got to see him right up there and close in person.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so awesome, man. Like, he's so incredibly talented. He absolutely deserves this because he works so hard. And it is really, really awesome to see that just the push that Jacob Fatu is getting because, I mean, we saw this guy wrestle in MLW. We've said it countless times on this show. We probably say it every single time we bring up MLW.
You can go back and
every
listen
single
to
time.
the episode.
Or we probably talk about it every single time we bring up Jacob Fatu, but it's just like, I just remember watching him in MLW, and we were just like, this is the best wrestler in the Bloodline. We were like, he is the best one.
Dude, it was like the whole car ride home. We were just talking about like, how's this guy not signed? Like he just truly blew us away. Like it was bizarre.
So the fact that the whole world is being able to see it now is really, really awesome. But yeah, I Jacob versus Solo feels like it's happening, and it feels like Jacob's getting a big win.
Oh yeah, especially this past Friday night SmackDown. Solo finally came back. Jacob's like, yo, where the hell have you been? Like, I think we're starting to already build some tension between them. And so, yeah, Jacob Fatu is going to be on this card, and he's going to fucking crush Solo Sikoa. So that's a match that I had as well. Did you? And he also just, like, you love to see, like, a good guy, because everyone always talks about how good of a person he is. And did you see the video of him with the Boogeyman?
Dude, that video is so awesome.
Dude, it's just, oh man, it's so good.
He's like,
just the pure excitement of the boogeyman.
Dude, he was
so good.
So good.
He's just all of us in that moment, dude.
Um,
Like, we all would react like that if we saw the boogeyman.
100%.
It's awesome. So, yeah, great match. I feel pretty good that one's going to happen. So I'll get into my only tag match on the WrestleMania card, which is kind of crazy to say. But I got DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns versus the Street Profits. Street Profits getting the win. I think that this could potentially be like a fatal four-way with Pretty Deadly, but I feel pretty good about these three teams going at it at WrestleMania. I'd have a hard time believing that Motor City Machine Guns will not be at WrestleMania. Just as much as they've been getting pushed and how good they've been doing, like, I think they're going to be on the card, and I think a triple threat tag team match. Maybe it's a ladder match like Dylan said. Maybe it's just a triple threat tag team match, but I do think the Street Profits end up getting this big win here after this kind of new heel version of the Street Profits, a bit more serious.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, Mark. I've got this match on my card as well. And the only difference is that I've got a triangle ladder match for the tag team championships. Like I said, I've got a ladder match kicking off WrestleMania.
You love a ladder match. You love a ladder match.
Love a ladder match. Well, the triangle ladder match is just right there. It's three tag teams. It's a feud going up to WrestleMania. Like, I feel way more confident. I'll tell you this. I feel way more confident about a triangle ladder match than I do about a multi-man IC title ladder match. How about that?
Okay.
I feel real good that this is going to be a triangle ladder match.
All right.
But yeah, same with you. I think the Street Profits get the win, get the titles, and they absolutely deserve it, man. They've been holding stuff down. The fact that they haven't just completely fallen off over the last 5 years, that they've essentially just done nothing. So they're awesome. They're so good, and they deserve it. So even if it's not a ladder match and it's just straight up triple threat, cool with me. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that match is going to be awesome.
I'll hop right into my next match, Mark. So the next match I've got is, looking at this list, we've only got a few left. And that is going to be Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens inside Hell in a Cell.
Okay.
These are two lifelong best friends who are about to tear each other apart at the Elimination Chamber. A lot of people seem to think that means they're not going to fight at Mania. We can't have a rematch? Nobody ever heard of a two-parter? Jeez, I think that's great. Do you agree?
I don't have them wrestling at WrestleMania.
Okay.
But not because they're wrestling at partially,
no,
but I think there's a different reason why they're not wrestling at WrestleMania.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like people think they're gonna go.
I don't know
back
why.
to
That was really
KO versus
funny.
Randy at Mania, which very well might happen. That might be what happen. That might be what we'll see. That might be what happens. But yeah, I don't know. I think the idea of this just being a one-off match is crazy. There's way too much there. So I think this is going to be a match here, and then some sort of stip. Hell in a Cell makes the most sense at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Dylan. I hope you're right. Because I think they absolutely deserve to wrestle at WrestleMania. You alluded to it. You actually said it. I think we're getting KO versus Randy at WrestleMania. I think that Randy's wrestling at WrestleMania. And as much as I wanted to have him face John Cena, I now don't think that is going to happen.
Okay.
And so I think that it would be kind of bizarre for him to come back and immediately not go after Kevin Owens.
Yeah, that does make sense.
So that's the only reason why I'm like, all right, they may go back to Randy versus KO, which is going to be a lot of fun. But I like if it's Randy, if you can choose between Randy versus KO or KO versus Sammy, then Randy versus Cena at Mania. Like obviously, everyone knows who we're gonna pick. So that's the only kind of bummer where I feel like you lose that super good John Cena WrestleMania match against Randy Orton. But I think that's kind of why they're fighting at the Chamber. Is like, all right, you guys won't be at WrestleMania, so we'll let you guys just kill each other in your home.
Do you have Sammy on your card?
I do not.
Damn.
Yeah. Sorry.
Did you realize that?
Nope. Just realized that right now.
Yeah. I mean, we can agree that he is going to be on the card, right?
I mean, what does he do?
Something. Dude, we had this conversation last year. We're not doing this again.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I just don't know what he does. I don't think he fights KO. I just don't know.
I
what
agree.
else he does.
I agree. I agree. If it's not KO, I don't know what it is. So I'm
Okay.
100% with
All right.
you.
And hey, anybody watching or
But
listening
he
at
will-
home who's giving me shit, if it's not KO, who's Sammy fighting at WrestleMania? Tell me confidently, and I will believe that he will be on the card.
I don't know, but I will tell you confidently that he will fight someone. He will be there. It is
We'll
Sami
see.
Zayn. He will
We'll
be
see.
there. We're not doing this again. But I'll go. So I'll just hop into my next one. I'll tell you what. This is crazy. As you were talking, we don't have to talk about it much because we're already in over an hour and we got a couple more matches to talk about.
Sure.
But Cena versus Sammy isn't. Cena versus Sammy.
It's interesting.
Be pretty fun.
It's interesting.
So just throwing that out there. I said it's interesting. I said it was interesting.
Nice.
So I've got my next match, Randy Orton on topic. I've got the match that you said, John Cena versus Randy Orton, the grudge match.
I hope you're right, man. I really hope you're right.
One last time at WrestleMania, John Cena versus Randy Orton, just for bragging rights, man. And I think this is a match that everybody would be 100% on board for. Don't even really need to say much more about it. Yeah. So I've got one match left.
Would it be current Randy or full-blown heel Randy?
I think it would be current Randy. I think it would be
Okay.
more of a respect thing.
Cool. Yeah.
But I think
agree.
they would. I think we would see some shades of heel Randy and some shades and just be like, but just so you know,
He's the Viper.
I'm still this guy. Like
He's the legend
it's
killer.
it- I respect you, John, but I'm still the Viper. So
This is
I
the WrestleMania.
that
We're
sort of
wrestling.
thing.
This is a big deal. Yeah. Love it. For the love of God, I hope you're right. There was also another reason why I didn't go Cena versus Randy, because I think unfortunately Cena's wrestling somebody else. But before I get into that, just so people don't think, I did have Rhea versus Io, but obviously we're not going to get that. Maybe it's a triple threat, Rhea versus Bianca versus Io, or I think it's probably just Rhea versus Bianca's most likely. So then that kind of messes up. Probably Jade just won't be on the card then. So I just don't want people to think that Rhea's not on the card. I'm just not talking
Well,
about
maybe
it.
they
'Cause
do Jade versus Naomi. Like if
Jade versus
Naomi's
Naomi
the one,
could also,
if Naomi's the one who attacked her.
yeah, that could
You
also
know what I mean?
happen, because then that would get Naomi on the card for me. So
It'll be.
I'll tell you what, Dylan, I'm not happy about this match.
I already
Right.
know what it is.
I think unfortunately we're going to get it, and it's because this prick Logan Paul has to be on the card. It's going to be Logan Paul versus John Cena.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that match
I hope I'm
happens.
wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. And I'm praying to
yeah.
God they don't do it.
It was more of that was one that I was like, I just can't. Like, I just have to book this differently. I was like, because it's just less enjoyable. Like,
Nice. I wish. I just
So, yeah. Hopefully he's not. But
I just couldn't think
I'm
of
with
anything
you.
else for Logan to do.
dude, trust me, I kind of think that's what's happening. So
So then I shifted, because that's when I shifted some things around. So I was like, all right, if I have Logan versus Cena, and then I'll have, instead of Randy versus Cena, I'll do Randy versus KO because that makes sense. And then, man, it's just the whole thing's a mess.
How many more matches you got?
I have one more.
Oh, then we have the same main event.
We sure do, Dylan. Because you convinced me.
Awesome. I'm glad I talked you into it, Mark. And that is what's going to be the main event of WrestleMania Night 2.
Yes.
That will be Cody Rhodes defending his WWE Undisputed Championship in a fatal 4-way match against Roman Reigns,
What?
CM Punk,
What?
and the Elimination Chamber winner, Seth freaking Rollins.
Let's go.
So, how do we get to this fatal 4-way? You
Break
may
it down,
ask.
Dylan.
So let's take a step back. Let's break it down. Let's just talk in general. How can we get to a match with Cody with each of these individuals, right?
Sure.
There's something there with Roman, obviously. We have a
rematch.
third,
The clause.
The rematch.
It's the clause. It's in the clause.
the
Dylan
whole
gets a
thing.
rematch.
Obviously, there's a little something there with Punk.
Mm-hmm.
We got that little promo that we saw, you know what I mean? But also, I think it's fair to say that CM Punk still has a favor from Paul Heyman, and that
Sure
can
does.
be anything. So,
Who knows?
essentially what I'm saying is Roman Reigns has a rematch, CM Punk has a favor from Paul Heyman. They have somewhat clearer explanations on why they could get a match with Cody at WrestleMania. But the one person that doesn't is Seth Rollins.
Sure.
The one person that doesn't really have a clear path to WrestleMania right now, in my eyes, is Seth Rollins. Maybe it's a little bit of bias since he's my favorite, but I also, I think this is the way things are laid out in front of me, and I think this is the way things are happening. I think this is what's going to play out. I think Seth wins the Chamber. Obviously, it's Seth versus Cody, and I don't know I don't know exactly how we get Punk and Roman into the mix, but I think we can all agree, even everybody watching, even if you don't think that. I think we can all agree that if Seth wins the Chamber, we all feel real good that a fatal 4-way is happening, right?
Oh, there's without a shadow of a doubt we're getting the fatal 4-way.
That's the
Seth
thing.
wins.
I'm just saying, if Punk wins, we could just get Punk versus Cody.
Yeah.
And that would make sense. But if Seth wins, it's got to be the fatal 4-way.
Yeah.
And
also real quick, I meant to say I think Logan Paul potentially eliminates Cena in the Chamber.
Yeah, I kind of got that.
Which is
vibe.
how do we lead to that match. But that's why I think Chamber, a lot of things from the Chamber are going to kind of lead to what could happen at WrestleMania. I feel like I hope Seth eliminates Punk after losing the feud.
He has to, dude.
He's got it.
Seth he has to win the Chamber. Seth has to win the Chamber. Taking way too many L's. He shouldn't have taken that L to CM Punk.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's true. Maybe he should have. If it all leads to this, then it makes sense. But I don't think he
should not have. I'll say it right now. Confidently. He should not have.
Well, if it leads to Seth winning the Chamber, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, you're right.
In that situation, if Seth wins the Chamber, you got to think it final two are him and Punk, right?
Or
would it be him and Roman?
Roman's
not in the Chamber. What the fuck am I talking
about? Yeah, no, they would probably be the final two. But
yeah, damn. God, I want that fatal 4-way so bad. I'm
Chamber's
just
gonna be fun.
How do you make
Chamber
a bigger
will be
main
fun.
event than last year? How do you top last year? You run it back and you throw Seth Rollins and CM Punk in it. That's how you do it. When's the last time we got a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania for the main event? Have we ever got?
Huge, your biggest
I don't think
stars
that's ever happened.
going at it.
That's never happened.
I mean, We'll need someone to
A
fact check
four-way?
this. Probably not.
We've had plenty of triple threats, but I don't know if we've had a straight-up four-way.
Yeah,
For the title.
I mean, and I'll tell you
In
what,
the main
Dylan,
event, we've had fatal four-ways, obviously.
I see it pretty clearly about how it's gonna play out.
Okay.
Seth wins the chamber, right?
Yeah.
Comes out. Obviously, he's gonna come out, cut a promo that he's going to be facing Cody. And then Roman kind of comes, whether this happens the same week or another week, he's cut another promo. Roman comes out and interrupts Seth, right? Seth gets pissed off. Roman's like, I don't have a match at WrestleMania. I looked in my clause. I have a rematch clause in that feud. I want my title opportunity. I want my rematch at WrestleMania. I don't care about what Seth wants.
Yeah.
So then Cody's gonna be like, oh, then and then Punk's going to come out, and then everyone's going to be like, what the hell are you doing out here? You're not on WrestleMania. And he's going to be like, hey, Paul, why don't you tell them what that favor was that you owed me? And then he goes on to explain the favor, which is potentially a match with Roman, which then if Roman's in this match, he would then turn into a fatal four-way, or maybe it's just Paul gets him a title opportunity.
Yeah. It's Paul Heyman. He could do it.
Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman can do whatever he wants. So I could see it very clearly playing out on television, just like that. And like you said, like I also like don't like they could just run it back, Cody versus Roman and then Seth versus Punk, but like then you're gonna have to cut another match from this card, and like I don't think they're going to do that. Like those are four of your biggest stars. You can put them in one match and just let them go at it.
Frees up a match, and that's a lot.
That's huge.
That's a lot
huge.
When this roster is this deep, dude.
It's
another
career-changing stuff, Dylan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel pretty confident about that. We are like 2 weeks away, I think, from Elimination Chamber. So
yeah, just
we'll be rooting for Seth Rollins in that one. You guys let us know in the comments down below. What do you think is going to be the main event for night 2? Do you think that it's going to be the Fatal 4-Way? I saw some people. I think they're pushing for Cena versus Punk versus Cody as a triple threat, which would be fun. I don't understand how we get there.
Yeah, neither do I. It's kind of fun. I don't get.
I just don't know how we get there. I would rather just have this Fatal 4-Way. So you guys let us know in the comments. What do you think is going to be the main event for night 2? Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Follow us wherever you're listening to this and wherever you're watching. Follow us on all of our social media at The Burning Hammer. Then on X, we are at The Burnt Hammer. And with that being said, I'm Mark Izzo. He's Dylan O'Brien. And this has been another episode of The Burning Hammer podcast. We'll catch you next week.